All right, so in this week's guitar lesson, we have a call and response blues. It's played fingerstyle, and all of our call licks are going to be major pentatonic scale licks. A lot of times people think when you're playing the blues, it has to be minor pentatonic scale, and that's not the case. So you are going to have a standalone composition at the end of this that you can play by yourself. You don't need to get out a jam track. It's a really great way to sit around and practice because you just grab your guitar and you can start learning all the stuff that we're going to go through. Plus, at the end of this, you have a composition that you can play by yourself or perform for other people. So I've got this lesson split into two parts. In this video, we're going to go through the first half of the composition. If you'd like to learn the entire composition, as well as download the tablature and also access the on-screen tab viewer, which is interactive, you can get those things by going to activemelody.com, go to the weekly lessons page, and do a search for EP 472. Okay, so this song is played in the key of E, and it's a 1-4-5 chord structure. So our 1 chord is an E, our 4 chord is an A, and our 5 chord is a B or B7. Those are the chords we're playing around. So nothing really new there, but it is played fingerstyle, which I'm going to talk through. I'm going to talk through what the thumb does, how it plays on the beat, and all of that. But the first thing I want to do to set this up, because we have a lot of information to try and cram into this, but you're going to be able to do this and follow along. It's not as difficult as it might sound. So the first thing to point out is, I mentioned it's a call and response blues. The calls are major pentatonic scale. So the first little piece that we're going to start playing is down here. It's a major pentatonic scale in this first position. So I want to point this out first. So it's going to be on the second string open, and then second fret. And then the same thing on the first string. First string open, second fret. Those are your first 4 notes. The 5th note for your pentatonic would be up here. 4th fret, first string. Those 5 notes are your major pentatonic scale for the key of E. That's your E major pentatonic scale. Even though there's patterns and positions, you can play it all over the fretboard, it's still those same 5 notes. They're just repeated all over the place. So once you understand that, and you can relate that to a chord shape, so you can relate that to your E chord like this, you have something already. Whether you're playing fingerstyle, playing with a pick, playing in a rock band, playing country, it doesn't matter even the style, you've got a major pentatonic scale area that you can work around this chord. So if you need a little fill lick, a little major pentatonic lick, you have a place to do that. And you can also, while you're holding down your chord, you can get most of those just using your pinky as like embellishments of your E chord. All right, I just wanted to set this lesson up with that. These first notes we're going to be playing, that's where they come from. Okay, the next thing to talk about is the fingerstyle portion. And our thumb is our bass player. That's how it works with fingerstyle. And so I'm really going to be using these 3 fingers, thumb, index, and middle. And I play the bass notes on the beat. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. If that's the tempo, right on the beat is where your thumb would be playing. So it's like this. So it goes. So just right on the beat. And when you go to the 4 chord, you just jump up a string. So this is one nice thing about playing, one of the reasons you see so many blues songs played in the key of E or in the key of A is because if you're playing the key of E, your 1 chord, when you're playing fingerstyle, is an open string. So you've got your open 6th string. When you go to the 4 chord, you do the same thing. You just jump up to the 5th string, so that your A note is open. So that leaves your left hand free to do other things. You're not having to try and fret that note. So just remember, our thumb plays on the beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. When you're playing over the 1 chord, it's the open E string. When you're playing over the 4 chord, it's your open A string. When it comes to the 5 chord, we're going to fret it here on the 2nd fret, 5th string, which is our B note. And then we'll go back to our 1 chord. So I just wanted to mention that first. Okay, we'll get back to that in just a minute. But the first thing that was played was that. So that's the first call and response. The first call was this. You know where that comes from now, that E major pentatonic scale. And it comes in on the and of 3. So it doesn't come in right on the 1. It's 1 and 2 and 3 and. So just remember that when you're counting this out. It's 1 and 2 and 3 and. So it's open B string, or the 2nd string, 2nd fret on the 2nd string, open first string, and then we're going to slide up to that 4th fret on the 1st string. And as soon as we slide into that, that's the 1. So that's where the thumb kicks in. So it's like this. And as soon as the thumb kicks in, it pretty much stays in for the rest of the song. There's a few places where it's going to drop out, which I'll call out in a minute. But for the most part, it's just on the beat. And you can do whatever you want tempo-wise as long as that thumb stays on the beat. So you can play triplets, you can play 8th notes, you could play 16th notes if you had the skill to do that. But whatever you want to play, it doesn't matter. You just have to keep the thumb playing the bass part, just like a bass player would be doing, just holding down the beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's the first thing that happens. And then I played this. So let's talk through that. All that is E, A, E. In terms of chords, it's just a 1 chord to the 4 chord, back to the 1 chord, a gospel change. But when I played it, I played strings, instead of playing the full E chord, I just played strings 2 and 3 of the E chord. So in actual fact, all I really needed to fret for that would be the 1st fret 3rd string. And then play and so I'm using these 2 fingers, my middle and index, on strings 2 and 3. Strings 2 and 3 of your E chord, that's all that is. And then I went to the A chord, so that'd be strings 2 and 3 on the 2nd fret. So you just bar strings 2 and 3 on that 2nd fret. And then strings 1 and 2, which are open, your 2 open strings. Look at your E chord. If you play your E chord, those 2 notes are open, your B note and your E note. So you have now after that, hit your bass note. So a lot of this, I'm telling you, you have to just slow this stuff down, and it will kick in, and you'll be able to do it up to whatever tempo you want eventually. But it's a lot like patting your head, rubbing your stomach. It's a very much of a coordination thing, and it seems impossible at first. I know how that feels, but it doesn't take that long to be able to start doing this. So you're just going to have to slow it way down. Even slower than that if you need to. You just have to try and get on the beat. One other thing to mention is you might try using a metronome. That works for not everybody. I've never been very good with one, but for some people that's a big help to have that metronome holding you to the beat. And wherever the click you hear on the metronome, that's where your thumb would be thumping along. Okay, so we have the first call and response. The second one goes. So the notes are same 5 notes, we're just played them in a different order. So it starts off the same, open 2nd fret, open 1st string, then we slide up to the 4th fret, and then we go open 1, 2nd fret 2nd string, open 2nd string, and then to your open 1. So now the trick is you've got to be playing your bass part, your thumb part, along with that. So if you're struggling at this point, just take that one lick and loop it over and over again. Like this. Then you could just keep doing it until you get it, until you're able to play them in sync like that. Okay, so we have our first 2 calls and response. And then I went like this. So I came up I'm still on strings 2 and 3, and actually most of what we're going to be playing chord-wise are happening on these strings 2 and 3 here. So I'm on the 5th fret 2nd string, and then the 6th fret 3rd string, those 2 notes. And I just walk that down. The way that I'm thinking about this, if you're wondering what this is, I'm thinking of this as your E6 chord walking down to your E9 chord. We do this a lot. I talk about this a lot, the 6 to the 9 chord. That's what this is in my head. But instead of playing the full chord like that, I'm just playing strings 2 and 3 out of it. Okay, from the beginning then. watch this. So I came up here and went while I'm holding down the beat with my thumb. So this would be a lick that's played between the 9th fret and the 7th fret on the 1st string, 2nd string, and then I come down to the 3rd string on the 9th fret. So what are these notes? Those are your major pentatonic scale. It's just another position for it. If we're thinking about our patterns, this will be pattern 5 of your major pentatonic for E. So you can connect this. This will be a big takeaway. If you think about your E chord using the A shape, where you've got one finger on the 9th fret, one finger on the 7th fret, look at that. Those notes straddle those 2 frets. So you can kind of see that E major pentatonic scale living inside your E chord there using the A shape, or at least I do. I picture it that way. So backing up from that E6 to the E9 chord, so you can see it happens right away. So I went right into that. And I'm just trying to stay on the beat. It's a very weird way to kind of write a composition, because you have to think a little more robotic than you normally would, or at least I do, especially when I'm trying to make something that's educational like this. I can't be too free floating and free in my thoughts like I can if I'm just improvising a lead. I have to be always reminding myself of that bass note. So from the beginning, now, it goes to the 4 chord. And what I did was, I was picturing my A chord right here, using the E shape, right? I'm basically mirroring what I did down here for the E chord, but now I'm doing it for the 4 chord. So I went to my A chord, but I didn't play the bar, I just played strings 2 and 3 of that chord. Those 2 notes. And I slid into it like that. While I'm doing that, I've got my thumb on the open 5th string. And while I play the A chord, I go to its 4 chord. So that's that gospel move that I use all the time. Whatever chord I'm on, I play the 4 chord of that chord, and I use that as a little pivot to go back and forth. So that's what's going on there. So it's like strings 2 and 3, and then we come up to same 2 strings, but we come up to the 7th fret, and then back to our A position. And then I repeated that. And then watch this. So I came down here, strings 2 and 3. Why would I come down here? Well, we're still playing over the A part, right? So that's an A. That's an A chord. So I'm just picturing my chords. A chord, A chord. And how do I get from here back down to here? Notice the timing was a little different there. With the thumb. I mean, well, the thumb stayed exactly where it always does, but I got ahead of the beat when I came down here. Watch. So I didn't go like this. That would be right on the beat. I went. And it's doing things just like that that give fingerstyle that sound. All right, so I'm going to back it up from the beginning and play up to that point. I know this is repetitive, but I like to do this just to kind of re-emphasize what we've learned so far. You can't repeat this stuff enough. Grab your guitar and play along with me if you can. I'm going to play this slowly. I'm going to count it in. So here we go. We have 1 and 2 and 3. Now we go to the E chord. So I just went from the A back to the E chord. I'm holding down the full chord there. Again, I'm only playing strings 2 and 3 with my middle and index finger. And then I did. Notice I'm using my pinky. I'm holding down the chord there. I'm using my pinky on that 2nd fret, 2nd string. So from that E chord we have. And then watch this. I switched to the 5 chord, which is our B7 chord. Now that's our B7 down in first position. Hopefully you know how to play that chord by now. But I'm making the full chord, but when I'm playing it with my right hand, I'm playing strings 2 and 3 again, which is really just fretting on that 2nd fret 3rd string. And then I've got my middle finger on the 2nd fret 5th string. And so I play this. Let me do that again slowly. And then watch this. And that is just a fill lick that gets us back to the 1 chord. Now when I played that lick, I stopped with the bass line. You're going to like that, right? If you're struggling with doing fingerstyle. That's another common thing I hear in a lot of old blues songs where they'll do little stops. It's kind of like you got a full band and it's like the whole band stops while you do a little fill lick. And then it kicks back in again. It's a very common band thing to do, but you can do that obviously by yourself as well. So from the B5 again, or from the B7 again. And I just go back to my E and do the same little pivot like I did to the A chord in the intro. So that lick, that little lick, is sliding up, so all the same notes we've already learned, sliding up to the 4th fret 1st string, open 1st string, and then we have 2nd fret open on the 2nd string. And then I did a hammer on to the 1st fret 2nd string. And then open 1st string, and then 2nd fret 2nd string, open 2nd string. So all together. And then the thumb kicks back in when we go to our E chord. Very Ry Cooder kind of vibe there. All right, well, hopefully you've got a few ideas from this. I'm going to actually wrap up this part 1 video here. I'll go ahead and play through it one more time from the beginning, but I will see you in part 2 where we'll go over the second half. And if you haven't checked out Premium Membership, I would encourage you to just look at it. At least go to Active Melody and check it out. Go to the forum, see what people are saying, ask questions if you've got them, or read the comments on lessons. It's very much of a benefit to those of you that are interested in learning how to improvise. That's really what all of these lessons are designed to do, is to give you the tools to be able to improvise, whether you're playing something by yourself like this or you're playing with a full band. I've got lots of lessons in lots of different styles. All right, let me back up, play through this one more time, and then we'll see you in part 2.